What's cracking, people? It's your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, representing high-level technicians, operating globally and beyond. So listen, today I wanted to bring back a classic drop that was presented more than a year ago, and I'll place a link in the description to the original video that I did about this down below. But gentlemen, the 5 F's that every woman uses upon meeting a man, those 5 F's are playing out today, right now, in real time, all over the place. And what I mean by that is the following. There have been recent reports and examples given by content creators within the manosphere. Shout out to you guys. I'm actually going to provide links to videos that I saw that I thought were really telling in terms of the 5 F's and how they are being ramped up right now. So I'll shout out those content creators as I cover them. But first, I want to do a review of what the 5 F's represent. And of course, if you have your copy of the Seduction scriptures, you can turn to page 123, and it breaks down the 5 filters that most women pass men through before determining whether or not she is going to approach him, she will allow him to approach, or she will set up her method of seduction. And the 5 F's are the following. Number 1, can I F him? Okay, can I F-U-C-K him? Basically, is he something that she desires on a primal level? The second one is, can I finesse him? The third one, can he feed me? The fourth one, can he father my children? And of course, the 5th one, can I forget this ever happened? Gentlemen, here are the examples of the 5 F's being played out across a spectrum of women. And shout out to these content creators who are posting these examples in their podcast. Number 1 is the smash or pass phenomena. Shout out to the Fieldmaster Ron Wills for bringing that to the attention in this space. I know some other content creators have called this out, but Ron Wills is the one who comes to mind immediately for me. And in this series of videos that have been blowing up all over YouTube and the internet, it's showing just on site whether or not a woman or a young lady is desiring a certain type of man. Young men of different backgrounds who have different outfits, who have different presentations overall, and just giving the honest, immediate truth of male desirability in the eyes of women. Number 2, the finesse has been rampant, showing examples of how women are admitting that there are men who are lined up and ready to part with their hard-earned money, or willing to support a woman's lifestyle, even though they're not necessarily together. Shout out Blue Jasmine. Shout out the podcast that had her on, interviewing her and showing the example of women who have the wherewithal, women who have a presentation, who have the attitude down, and they know their targets. They know the type of man that they can finesse. And so that particular phenomenon is more and more on display. Number 3, can he feed me? So shout out to the Fresh and Fit podcast, because recently they did they covered a topic of what's called foodie calls. Now, I know other content creators covered this in the past, but I'm just giving a recent example of this phenomenon being highlighted. Now, of course, I've covered this in the past in my podcast covering the 5 different types of men that average women or most women have on their roster. I'm very specific with the verbiage there. I'm not necessarily even talking about desirable women or highly desirable women. These are just average women who have these 5 types of men on their roster, and one of those types of man is the type of man who takes her out on food dates, on foodie calls, and he's totally fine with it. Just being in her presence is enough for him to have a level of enjoyment. But gentlemen, let's be honest, it's all in the name of, wait for it, the possibility of sex. Shout out to the verbal seduction king himself, Mr. Alan Roger Currie, for that one. Moving on. These last 2 points are pretty heavy, and the example or the case study, real life case study that we're using today is pretty heavy. I mean, because it deals with a woman grooming a younger man for his resources, his future resources. And of course, I'm referring to the case of PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. Now, Steph is cold, aka Steph Clinkscales, I think did a great job in presenting this scenario specifically to professional athletes, as he's mentioned in his podcast, how he's even had professional athletes DM him and for discussions and to get his opinion on certain things. But this particular case, can he father my kids, has come up. Now, in the seduction scriptures, this is on page 125, and it comes right after the breakdown of can he feed me. This is when a woman has scanned her potential target, and she has looked at his uniform, his suit. Is he wearing a litigator suit? Does he work in a C-suite? Is he a blue collar worker? Is he an artistic creative? What is it about this man's outfit, about his features, about the watch he's wearing, the cufflinks, everything about his presentation? What does it say about his potential to either feed her and or father future children? Meaning, and especially in the case of Brittany Renner and PJ Washington, being able to maintain a certain lifestyle that comes with having a child of a professional athlete. And I think that this is such an important case study for all men to evaluate and take into consideration when approaching a woman that they desire to acquire. And last, but certainly not least, and we're going to keep the same energy from this previous case study of PJ Washington with point number 5, the 5th F of this series. Can I forget he ever happened? Now, normally this applies to the type of guy that's repulsive to a woman. This applies to the type of guy who a woman deems to be out of her league, or that she's above him or beyond his capacity to satisfy any level within her space. Okay, but for this case, using it in the case of Brittany Renner and PJ Washington, if you just look at this Instagram post, now I chose this particular Instagram post because this is right after the news of the breakup had come to the public space. Prior to this post, there were so many pictures of shared holidays, so many pictures of friends and family, so many pictures of them together as a couple. They're doing this, pregnant belly, all that great stuff. As soon as she got what she wanted, she forgot he ever existed. Okay, save the child, save the support that PJ Washington is going to have to pay over the next 18 years. Her Instagram account is the epitome of can I forget he ever happened. Gentlemen, the takeaway from this critique or this observation is this. Understand that behind that beautiful face, behind that figure 8 frame, behind the smiles, the gesturing, the flirtation is a pragmatic hunter. It doesn't matter if you're Brittany Renner. It doesn't matter if you're Anna Nicole Smith, who got what she wanted, the billionaire. What matters is that you are self-aware. What matters is that you are aware of your environment. What matters is that you understand and can appreciate that that woman who is approaching from 50 feet or more away is scanning you. And in that moment, in the 7 seconds that it takes for her to look you up and down, she is calculating what you are presenting. And it's up to you to call upon all of this information and content that we at the Manosphere present to you on a regular basis that gives you the orientation of a self-aware, self-valuing man. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing that you have to use in these scenarios, that thing that we champion the most in this country, is choice. And that freedom of choice must be protected at all costs. So, gentlemen, at the end of the day, just take these scenarios and these case studies with a grain of salt. In your pursuit of the type of women that you desire to acquire, all on the path of masculine mastery. Select man, pre-select man, non-select man. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, this is your man cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.